Yes. Moving from an excellent episode worthy of being one of the top three episodes of Superman and Lois, to a solid episode of The Flash that still feels incongruous. But I guess it was okay. I love the Iris and Dreamer team up. That was the highlight of the episode. Everything else didn't need to be there. But
Mm. I'm so conflicted over this episode. I say this about the interval episodes all the time. When they produce a good one, it's great, but at the same time, you're like, what was the point in that episode? Um, I will say I adored seeing Dreamer back. I love when the Flash. I love when when the Supergirl ended, and when Batwoman ended, how the Flash has basically become this like hub for the Arrowverse, and they're like, "Hey, bring that character back, bring that character back." So it was nice to see such a Supergirl. So Dreamer's become such an important character. She was created for Supergirl, and now she's a DC Comics character, and it's wonderful to see her one more time before the Arrowverse ends. And she worked so well with Iris. It was just so nice. They're such a good double act. Um, that was my like that was my favorite part of the episode. I'm not even going to like sugarcoat it. The whole arc there was wonderful. It was so nice to see them, and it was such a fun episode. I just can't get out of my head that this is the final season, and that I feel like this storyline just kind of went over stuff we knew already, and that we've done, and we've been there and done that already. And at the end of it, you're kind of left thinking, okay, awesome, but what was the point? And I feel like that's what I'm coming away from this season saying a lot, if that makes sense.
I'm sad
yeah,
for you guys.
thank
Yeah,
you. I
yeah,
appreciate
we need that.
it.
Like I just counted on my fingers. I'm like, we have 6 episodes left, and they haven't really liked any of them.
No, because it's like if I had known we were going into a short story collection for like the final season, I feel like I could have prepared better. Like usually final seasons ramp up the drama. Like because we're coming to the end of the road, we usually like if there was a big overarching big bad that hadn't died yet, we'd bring that person back and that's who we'd be fighting. And The Flash has no central storyline for its final season. I don't
It seems
count
like it's
Iris's
a.
pregnancy.
It sounds like a greatest hits tour.
Mm, mm. But the
Yeah.
problem is it's using the same
Yeah,
old
Serena's
format.
like it's not even a greatest hits tour.
I didn't want to say that, but thank you. The problem is it's using the same old boring format it's used for the last 3 seasons, which is 5 episode storyline, 5 episode interval, 5 episode storyline, and there's no time to build any kind of long form there because if your final storyline is the same length as your interval, what makes the final storyline more important than the interval?
Now, what's an
You know,
interval?
4 filler episodes in a row.
Okay, I like that answer.
It's 100% factual and accurate. Oh,
It's just so sad.
I'm excited for the final one of the final interval episode because Oliver Queen is back and John Diggle is back and Kid Flash is back. Cannot wait for that one, but it's going to be a journey getting there. This was the second interval episode, and it was miles ahead of last week's one, 2 weeks ago's one. I can't even remember when I watched that. Miles ahead of that one. The one we talked about, Sabrina, on the pod that was just the two of us. It's widely regarded as perhaps the worst episode of The Flash ever. I
No,
wouldn't
it's
say
not.
that.
It's not at
Just
all.
it's a perfectly decent,
Wait,
fun episode.
repeat that. Who said what?
And the last filler episode, sorry, the last interval episode, the last one that we talked about 2 weeks ago is supposed to be one of the worst episodes the Flash has ever produced. It's not. It's just mediocre. It's fine, but it had no purpose to serve. It was just Allegra, Chester, and Cecile Sancho.
How can they say that when we had the bachelorette and bachelor party where Barry went to the strip club and Iris was having awkward dinner with girls who aren't her friends? Like, it just
Wasn't that the episode where Iris had a high pony?
Maybe.
Did she have a
maybe.
Did she have a high pony this season?
Yeah, wait, maybe.
Maybe.
Wait.
Oh, wait,
yes,
this episode, yes, with the braids,
yes,
lovely.
yes.
She's a cop in this one. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know. Iris's hair is what I've taken note of this season as a bystander. Like every time I see a picture of her, I'm like, yes.
Yeah, but
Yes.
that's the thing. It's been amazing the last 2 episodes. The problem is it's been the best thing about the last 2 episodes. But the Dreamer episode was better than the last one. It's just unfortunate when you're like, yes, 5 minutes of Barry and Iris, and that's the best part of the episode. Yes, Iris looks amazing, and that's the best part of the episode because the rest of the episode is not making up for it. And Okay, that's a bit harsh to say about this episode. This episode was very, very good. This episode was brilliant. And if this episode had taken place in any other season, it would have been one of my favorite episodes. The problem is it's still one of my favorite episodes of the final season, and it accomplished pretty much nothing. um uh I just I don't want to just be like ranting on about how bad Sabrina's like, go on, tell me about it. You're right, keep going.
Okay, wait, okay. I caught like a glimpse of it before Riverdale came on, and from what I saw, there was like no superheroing. Was there any superheroing in this episode? I mean, I saw like 3 seconds, so that's not a fair assessment. I saw like a family dinner, and then I saw Danielle Panabaker and a blonde man on a stoop having a chat. I don't know names.
Get to the stoop because I'm mad about the stoop.
Yeah, you found yourself with the worst storyline in the episode, and the only superheroing done in this episode was in the dream, because obviously Dreamer's powers is that she can channel the dream realm, and she can basically walk through her own dreams and walk through other people's dreams.
That sounds like so much fun.
But the problem is Supergirl never really explored it. Now it's come and gone, and it still feels like we're learning about what Dreamer can do. And I'm like, this woman has been a part of the show for like 3 years on Supergirl. They barely explored her powers, and now we have to use an episode of The Flash to finally get answers about how powerful
she is.
Exactly, about how powerful she is. I'm not sure they ever expected Dreamer to be such a revolutionary character, and they're just trying to use what little time they have now to finally show us. And don't get me wrong, I love it. This is probably the better than any Supergirl Dreamer episode. And also, I think The Flash is slightly bigger budget, because Dreamer's powers looked far better on this than they ever did on Supergirl.
They used the whole budget, though. That's why we don't have any action sequences. They needed all the budget for those powers. They were beautiful, though. Gorgeous blue light.
It was. But yeah. So basically, Dreamer was trapped in this dream with something that looked, was it a Jawa from Star Wars? I think that's what they compared it to.
Basically,
I watched The Mandalorian, so I understood that reference this time. But yeah, she was basically trapped in a dream with something that looked like that, and in her dream, Iris died, so she had to go to Central City to find
Iris always dying in the show?
Right. They promised that wouldn't happen. Literally, the first scene of season 9, Iris dies. So yeah,
I don't even watch the show, and I'm fed up.
But I feel like I'm going around in circles criticizing. I just want to say it was a very, very great episode, and seeing Dreamer and Iris, give them a comic series, give Dreamer her own limited series, because I really want to know what that character is actually capable of. Nicole Maines is just a phenomenal actress, and you really get to see it every time she's playing Dreamer. She's so passionate about the character, and I love the fact that she gets to write the character for DC Comics outside of the Arrowverse, which is great. I think Dreamer will go down as one of the all-time great DC characters in decades from now, and I love that she started on Supergirl as TV's first ever transgender superhero. Incredible. Love that for her, and I'm glad we got one more moment to appreciate that in the Flash's final season. The problem is, appreciating Dreamer was easily the best part of this episode, because easily the best part of the season, just because the season is not hitting what had this final season of the Flash is going to. Iris and Dreamer are an incredible duo. I want more of them. I would take a whole season of that. I hate that I watched this episode through a lens that was like, but what's happening in the final season of the Flash? You know where I'm going with that, Sabrina. I don't want to down the episode, because this is easily one of the strongest episodes the Flash has produced in some time. It's just unfortunate where it was placed.
Yeah.
Let's go to the porch. I want to hear Sabrina's thoughts on what happened on the porch.
Yeah, pivoting to the weaker part of the episode.
Okay, and then I'm gonna circle back to Iris. So on the porch. The porch is the end of the episode. It's between Mark and Keon. To give some background, Mark and Keon spent the entire episode on a date Keon wished she'd never even agreed to go on. Like, to her, she thought they were just gonna be hanging out, because she's supposed to be getting a break from learning about her powers. And Mark was like, yeah, we could go do that. Because he had a steamy dream about him and Keon in the lab. But he only had that dream because he's trying to make her be more like his ex-girlfriend Frost, who had passed away. Okay. And because they have the same face, and it's the same, that basically they're like triplets or whatever. I'm just going to explain it that way, because the science doesn't science in the Flash anymore. But like, so he spent the entire day trying to get her to do things that Frost and he used to do. And then finally she took the microphone when they were supposed to be doing karaoke, and she's like, so Frost is dead, everybody. This karaoke thing is not happening. And the bar got to see them argue about him trying to make her be like his ex. And then instead of just going to the park like she wanted to go, she wanted to be around nature. And he was like, let's do exciting things. What you want to do is boring. And I was like, oh my God, please just end it. So like by the time we get to the porch, it's him apologizing to her outside of Jill West's house on the porch, in which West Allen has some amazing moments. And I'm like, you put them on the West Allen porch? I mean, it's daytime. They didn't give them the nighttime shot with the lens flare, so I didn't. It's not like I wanted to fight anybody, but I did want to delete the scene. Like I wanted to go back in time and speak to the editor because it just was not necessary. Because I don't really care. Mark's grief arc ends with him wanting to leave.
How many times are we writing this man out of the show? It's only been 7 episodes.
And he needs to go. I mean, I think to be honest, I tuned out. Did he decide to actually leave? I was still in a rage.
He's left, and Keon's very sad about it, and that awoke her ice powers, and she turned their dinner into ice.
Oh yes, she ruined breakfast.
She did, yeah, she did. Everything on the table turned to ice, and apparently that's so she doesn't need to like whoosh her powers out. Whatever she feels manifests in front of her. So we still don't know anything about her powers, but she's sad and she can turn things to ice. So
is she living there now? Because that means that like Cecile and Allegra and now Keon are up in the West house, and still not a single West lives in this house. I am like, why are the OCs living in the West house? Like I'm losing my mind.
I feel like TV always does that, and it's like, can we like just pretend to build a new set?
Yeah,
I would like to, because it just feels disrespectful to me. Personally, I feel attacked, and like they don't care about these main characters. And we should be having like a focus on Iris and Barry, which by the way, poor Barry got to do not a thing this episode. I appreciated that they gave us an update on the Justice League, but
that was nice.
Reed, all Barry got to do was panic over Iris, which I mean, like, yes, exactly, do that. But like he walked out of the room, what is it, 20 minutes into the episode, and didn't come back until 40 minutes later.
Yeah, that was really weird, especially since Cecile said she was going to follow him. And now Cecile and Barry have some lovely moments. So I was like, oh, we're going to get to see one of those pep talks. And then the two of them came back in without having shown us the pep talk. I was like, wow, we're really sidelining Barry this week. Didn't expect that at all. Yeah, I did. I was thinking of you, Reed, during the episode, because Cecile wasn't in it until halfway through, and then she literally just walked into the room. It was like, I'm getting vibes. Because she could feel that the Star Wars Jawa, the Dreamer, whatever that thing was that was making Dreamer have all the nightmares, she could feel its presence. She's like, it's a guardian angel. It's not a threat. It's okay. And it turned out it was a guardian angel because it was the original Dreamer finally showing Dreamer how to use her powers. But why couldn't we have done this on Supergirl? But yeah, anyway, long story short, Iris was having a problem because she was about to publish her Pulitzer-winning article, and she knew this was going to be the article that did it. It was the article all about the Red Death, so at least we have a little bit of tied up back to that storyline. So she knew she was going to publish it, but she kind of had like imposter syndrome, where she didn't want to publish the article because she knew she was going to win a Pulitzer for it in advance.
She was blocking her blessing, and I don't understand
why.
Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, we kind of went through that in the first episode of the season. We all watched that, yes, and where she didn't want her life to be dictated to by Barry's futuristic book. So they decided doing different things. So she was afraid to do one of the actual things that would dictate her future, because then she knew she was going to win it in advance, and she felt like an imposter. But basically Dreamer saw that, or made her see that every single decision she ever made in her life got her here. She's not doing this because the book said so. Every decision she made as a reporter got her to this point. So the dream was all about making Iris see that she still has control over her future. And I think that's a wonderful arc, but I'm like, did we not do this in the first episode of the season? I just feel like this episode was it was a great episode that was full of, okay, but we've done that already. You know what I mean?
We retread, and it bothered me because you can definitely see that the writers' room did watch season 1 again, but we are in season 9, and I'm like, we should be past the future's been written for me. I'm upset about it. I'm going to do everything against doing the thing that would lead me down the path the future says I'm going to be on. Because we did this in season 1 when she wasn't ready to confront her feelings for Barry. We did this in season 2 when she was healing from, what is that man's name? He's her fiance. Why is it leaving me?
Eddie.
The dead one?
Thank you.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
Eddie. like when she was healing from the loss of Eddie, and then like being like, wow, Barry and I are together in on another Earth. Maybe it does mean that we're supposed to be together. Like we got through this. Why are we back here? I also don't
Yeah,
understand why.
they need to maximize Iris's sleigh.
Hmm.
And they
Hmm.
don't, it's not, from what I'm hearing, it's not giving what it needs to give.
And that's
It's
why it's so frustrating, because we saw that in the some of the dreams she went and walked into. We saw that Iris was the police captain in CCPD, and then in another dream she was the head barista at
that
Jitters,
sequence
which
was
is
so
where she
cute.
worked. And so I love that we get
She
to
should
see
be a
Iris's
pop
sweat.
star, talk show host.
Yeah, all of the above.
I do wish we spent a little bit more time in Iris's potential careers, because I thought those whole moments were cute and special. But I also just almost one of the things, and this might end up being my villain origin story, besides obvious Iris issues, is that she's the Lois Lane of the Flash universe, and we are constantly fighting her being a reporter. And I just do not. We've been doing it the whole series, and I don't understand why. Just let her be an ace reporter.
Yeah, this show ages badly when it's on screen alongside Superman and Lois, because Superman at Lois is exactly the same kind of show as The Flash, and that you've got a corny superhero, corny, fun-loving, light-hearted superhero at the lead, with also his partner in crime, who's literally a reporter, and The Flash cannot juggle that in the same way that Superman at Lois does. And I know that The Flash doesn't have Iris in the title because it was very much started off as just being about The Flash, as it should have been, but she came into the picture and she became every bit as pivotal to the storyline as he did. And yet for across 9 seasons, she's been the leader of Team Flash. She's been part of Team Flash. She's been struggling with time sickness. She's been building this conglomerate business off screen instead of just reporting on the news. And here we are
Why do they make her a damsel in distress?
every time. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, she really, she always has a gun ready though. Like she
Mm-hmm.
truly does. Like think they need to lean into that a bit more. Like we say all the time, like she stays ready so she doesn't have to get ready. Like that's who she is as a person. So I'm always like, just let her be that. Let us see that on an investigative trail. They never really give her any stories, but I feel like the Flash reviews literally just us being like, we want you to do better, you can't do better because you're ending, and so we're bitter about it.
Are
So
we gonna give them the Riverdale season 6 treatment where we just like let them ride the bench?
I feel like no, because Michael and I need to have the catharsis of being
Yeah.
able
Yeah.
to hop on the pod.
Reed is our therapist, and we need to get it all
I know,
out.
I'm like trying, I'm like, what do you guys need? Do you need a time away from it?
You need to
Oh.
consciously uncouple.
It's too late for that. It's too late. There's 6
I
episodes
know.
left.